What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of Bets and Ball Games with Edwards and Greeson. We're recording on Wednesday, December 10th at 1:30 p.m. Eastern. We are presented by our friends at FanDuel. What's going on, Jay?
Not much, my friend. Have we ever had a real conversation why it's with Edwards and Greeson? Shouldn't it be with Greeson and Edwards? Yeah.
We've never talked about it. I don't think we need to.
Fair enough.
Well, you carry the show every week, like you told me the other week.
No, what your answer should have been is you just defaulted to alphabetical.
There we go. Yes, there you go. That's what it was. Alphabetical. Okay. Good, bad, and ugly. You go right ahead.
All right. I'm going to rattle these off, and then I'm going to give you your platform because all my good, bad, and the ugly, I dominated and bullied my way to just taking three good, bad, and ugly from the SEC championship game, which the game was ugly, but you could predict that. The ramifications of what it means for title games, also ugly, because it's clear that those games don't matter anymore, and that's got to be on the table of things that need to be addressed in the big picture landscape of college football changes moving forward. But if I'm going to start good, you and I are far from Mike Bobo supporters. But when Mike Bobo has a guy like Zachariah Branch, the stat I saw is Zachariah Branch had 56 yards receiving in the SEC championship game, and he had 57 yards after the catch. No, I've never seen it either. So if you've got a guy that you're Mike Bobo and you love the bubble screen, and you got a guy that good at it, I mean, I think I've told you in the last couple of weeks, as you're looking for your significant other, you need to find someone who looks at you the way Mike Bobo looks at Zachariah Branch.
I think you need to find somebody that looks at Billy Napier like Scott Strickland does.
Okay, fair enough. But that's my good because it has worked to a level that Mike Bobo's been not only way better than Mike Bobo's been good this year. And they have the pieces to fit his system. Now, I think the mark of very good to great coaches is adjusting your system to fit your pieces. But when a guy like Bobo has the pieces that fit his system, he's happy to use three tight ends. He's happy to run bubble screens. He's happy to rely on Nate Frazier in that running game. And you know what? It has really worked. And Georgia's going to be a handful for everybody moving forward. My bad is, look, we did a ton of preseason predictions, prognostications, and even guesses. And I don't know if I missed one more completely than thinking Alabama was about to have the best offensive line in the country. And they have been run roughshod over. And Caden Proctor, other than his screen pass moment in Athens 2.5 months ago, that stock went from being top 5 to does he go in round 1?
I just saw a mock draft this morning. He's not in round 1.
So
it's just one, but
right. But I mean, look, you and I love the draft, and we read all those mock drafts because it's just worth it. But Caden Proctor was on the short list before the season of guys who were going to be like the first non-quarterback drafted. And now
does he enter the portal and try to get his biggest bag to try to up his stock next year?
Well, that's a question for half of college football.
Sure.
And then my ugly, specifically to the SEC championship game, it will start with Kalen DeBoer's routine of I mean, he was acting like a hyperactive softball mom of a 10-year-old pitcher who didn't agree with the umpire. I mean, so damn, man. I know you've been there before. At least act like it. And I know the stakes of that game, but it turned out the SEC covered your ass and got you in the playoff anyway. So,
well, Sankey, do you think Sankey would have canceled the SEC championship game if Bama didn't get in?
no, Sankey would have went full blown. He'd have nuked the earth, and I'm certain he made the committee know about it on the front end.
Yeah.
Look, you guys are doing everything in your power to protect your power structure, but you need us a hell of a lot more than we need you. And if you're going to punish the SEC title game loser, you are not going to like the consequences. And I actually think it was every bit that harsh, if not more so, because there was no public politicking.
Yeah.
Think back to years past and the politicking that had happened after a late defeat and coaches and commissioners getting up there and grandstanding for their teams. Sankey made it clear behind the scenes, and everybody was well aware. Because, in truth, Notre Dame shouldn't be pissed that Miami got in. Miami beat you. Notre Dame should be pissed that Alabama was the one that got in instead of them. And so that's my first one. My second one on the ugly is Alabama's got very little hope to make any type of noise in the college football playoff if Jam Miller's not healthy. Because that running game, we talked about the bad, and the offensive line is mediocre at best, despite all of their five-star talent and preseason accolades. The only running back there who can make things happen is Jam Miller, and that's because he runs through the first tackle.
And now I was partying in the Grove and, admittedly didn't watch play-by-play of Bama, Oklahoma, but good luck against that defense if you're clearly one-dimensional. I know they had tons of yards against them, but Simpson, from what I was told and watching the SEC and 60 highlights, he was never comfortable that game, and it led to turnovers, and he's slumping because they are one-dimensional. He's struggling right now. Suddenly,
I think he may be hurt.
Oh, that too. He's taking a beating this year.
The Missouri game. I mean, look at the defenses he's played, Brian.
Yeah. No, I'm looking at them right here. Missouri, Tennessee. Well, Tennessee didn't end up being that good. South Carolina was okay defensively. LSU was good. Oklahoma, very good. Auburn, elite. Yeah. He's taking some beatings. And then Georgia again. Yeah. He's taking some beatings. All right. Go ahead.
You're good, bad, ugly.
Yeah, my good is going to be Texas Tech in general. BYU's scripted opening drive could not have been more perfect. They fell down 7-zip and struggled offensively in the first quarter, but they get it together. They roll 34-7. And during that first quarter, when they were down 7-0, and when they punted, and after they got a field goal, I was hitting submit on a lot. Little small ones, but quite a few of them on first. I ended up getting them in the first half -2.5, -3.5. That one. But I lost my original first half bet. So the first half wasn't that great to me. And I lost the team total over 16.5 in the first half. It was 16-7.5, I believe. But anyway, I got them for the game live when they were down 7-0 and down 7-3 at like -4.5, -6.5, -7. It went well, and then my bigger bets were the Texas Tech for the game and team total. So that game went swimmingly for me, fortunately, because the rest of my weekend was not very good. But Texas Tech was fantastic. We'll talk more about the future odds in a minute. I do think they're the best. I think they're the best play on the board as far as future odds. And then let's go bad. Let's go Virginia. Look, you had just smashed Duke. You had just smashed them and completely dominated them at Duke, right?
Feels right.
Huh?
That seems right to me.
Yeah, I got it right here. You beat them at Duke 34-17, and it wasn't that close. And then for all the marbles, if you so to speak, you get beat in overtime. So good luck making the CFP in the next 25 years, Virginia. You just had your chance, and you did not take advantage. Now, Mensah is the dude for sure, so I shouldn't be maybe that hard on him, but you got to win that game. Ugly, just everything Notre Dame won. Vandy tried to play them last week. I don't know this for certain, but I am going to speculate that I do know this. Vandy would have been perfectly fine going to South Bend. You had a chance to bolster your resume, and you didn't want to, or maybe there were logistics that made it not happen. But and then just your schedule in general. Look, I think Notre Dame should have been in, but whatever. It didn't happen. And, okay, you played at Boston College, Navy at home. Now, at Pitt's a tough game. Syracuse at home, at Stanford. You played Purdue at home. Boise at home. I mean, look, I don't ever disrespect Boise. But there's not a whole lot of meat on that bone in terms of quality wins other than USC and at Pitt. And I know you blasted a lot of teams. And look, I would, from a power rankings perspective and who I'd make favorite over whom on a neutral field, I mean, I think Notre Dame's third, fourth, fifth best team out there. But it is what it is. And then just to bitch out of the bowl game. And we got precedent on this. FSU didn't bitch out of the bowl game, and that was with half their team opting out. They went down and took that ass beating from Georgia. I mean, you don't just opt out, I don't think, unless you're just worried about having a roster, which FSU should have been worrying about because they barely had a roster that game, but they didn't opt out. I think that was – what do you think of that?
Well, I'm going to first say that the regular handful of listeners to our show have got to realize how ugly you think Notre Dame acted if you're actually going to tip the visor to Free Shoes University. I mean, okay.
Yeah.
If you're going to say some sort of praise about at least FSU manned up and took that ass whipping, then the fact that you are at least even giving any sort of non-shade to the folks.
Can I take that back? Can we erase that?
No, we can't erase that. You already said it and you meant it. I think Pete Bavacqua, the Notre Dame AD, his media tour on Monday has really blown back up in his face, chastising the ACC for pumping up Miami. What were they supposed to do? The conference shares in team football playing teams that get bids. They don't get any benefit from you, Notre Dame, because you're not willing to share your benefit. And I get both decisions, but I get Notre Dame's decision to stay independent as long as they've got an easy path because they get to keep all of the NBC money. But you then have to understand the ACC office's decision to support a full-time member in football of their conference because they share in that and they share in that success. So look, it's been a bad several days for Notre Dame, but Notre Dame was throwing the wrong stone. Throw the stone at Alabama. Don't throw the stone at Miami. Miami beat you head to head.
And they've gotten the benefit of the doubt plenty of times in the past, I think Notre Dame has, right? Getting tied into certain bowl games and stuff when they weren't the best. And I'm talking about back when we had BCS championship and all that. I mean, because when we had just the BCS championship, the other bowls meant a lot. And what did they have to do? Win like 9 or 10 games? They were automatically in a BCS game? I'm talking like 10, 12 years ago. Something like that.
Well, now next year, if they're just in the top 12, under the memorandum of understanding that I've seen, if they're in the top 12, they're going to be in the playoff.
All righty. Okay, let's jump into some FanDuel numbers. And we'll start with the fact that the Heisman is off the board at FanDuel, but I don't, that's probably just, in fact, let me hit refresh on my FanDuel page. That I'm sure they'll have something back up again, or maybe they just decided it was such a long shot. But I won't mention the specific books because FanDuel's our book, but I did glance at a couple other books, and basically Mendoza was like a 1-10 favorite or minus 1,000, and Pavia was in the plus 425 to plus 600 range. And I thought Pavia had a good chance going into last weekend, and my thought process was, oh, let's get a defensive struggle in the Indiana-Ohio State game, and Pavia should be in business. So Mendoza goes 15 of 23, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and a 13-10 win. He often has a lot of rushing yards, but did not in this game. He had minus 3. Julian Sayin, 21 of 29, 258, 1 tutty, 1 pick, and he never has any rushing yards. It was minus 29. So I thought Pavia had a chance anyway. I think he still has a chance. So anyway, I guess I'm saying if you can get 6-1 or better, I'm not against a very small play. I wouldn't risk a lot, but what do you think on his chances?
Well, I will say this. I wish I had jumped on the Saturday night numbers that were available all across a lot of platforms where Pavia was up to 30-1, because this game, the Big Ten title game, was so billed that it was not only to decide the 1 seed, it was 2 Heisman quarterbacks, and the winner of this game was going to be the front runner. Look, man, we can talk about a whole lot of other things, but Diego Pavia means more to his football team than any single player in college football. And if we're going to change the goalpost on what the Heisman's supposed to be, then okay. And I know this is coming off a year where Travis Hunter won the award last year with a fun and interesting storyline, but I'll do you this. And then to merge narratives, if Notre Dame had Vandy's resume, they're the 5 seed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the more relevant question in my mind is not, okay, the undefeated number 1 quarterback, does he get it? I think the more relevant question is, would Fernando Mendoza, if he was Vanderbilt's quarterback, would he have Vanderbilt with a 10-2 record? And my answer to that is I do not think he would. And then you look at the stats, and I just think Diego's are better. And then I know
across the board, Brian, across the board, his numbers are better.
Yeah, all right. Here we go. 71.2 completion percentage, 3,192 passing yards, 27-8 TDI&T ratio, but then also 826 rushing yards, 9 touchdowns, 5.4 yards per carry average. And now for a career, because sometimes you feel like these seniors kind of get a little extra because it's kind of sometimes a career award. Okay, New Mexico State and Vanderbilt, not exactly your college football juggernauts. Diego Pavia, 9,908 career passing yards, and 86-27 TDI&T ratio, 3,062 career rushing yards, 30 career rushing touchdowns, 5.0 yards per carry average, and 3-0 against Auburn.
Shut up.
Only because you broke the rule. We have rules here, and you broke it. That's the only reason that happened. Yeah, so I'm not against a play on Pavia at 6-1. And
that was a bad beat, though. Auburn dominated that game.
Absolutely. But you broke the rule, and you paid for it.
I did.
In bad beat fashion, extremely bad beat. That's one of the worst beats of the season, easily. No doubt about it. All right, FanDuel futures. Ohio State 2-1. Indiana 3-1, Georgia 6-1, Oregon 8-1, Texas Tech, plus 950, getting even more generous for the play that I think is the most attractive at these current numbers. A&M 19-1, Ole Miss 22-1, Bama 25-1, Miami 27-1, Oklahoma 45-1. Wait, is that 7,000 to 1 on James Madison? I think it is. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Yeah, because 45 to 1 has 2. That's 7,000 to 1, James Madison. 7,500 to 1 on Tulane. And I say the best. I know you have a good number on Georgia. I believe 15, if I'm not mistaken. I'll give you the floor in a second. But I think Texas Tech's the play right now, plus 950.
Well, I hate their second round matchup because I think Oregon's pretty damn good.
I think they beat Oregon.
I am content because I've been high on Georgia. I bought stock in Georgia going on a month plus now since the cocktail party, and so
they played great. Other than the Georgia Tech game, I thought offensively that was kind of a dud, but they've been great otherwise.
Yes, and complete. And they took a haymaker from their arch rival and withstood it. And a whole lot of these young kids have grown up. I mean, look, it's a coach cliche to talk about freshmen at this time of the year feel like they're sophomores. With the number of freshmen they've put in the fire, and they now feel a hell of a lot older than sophomores because they've played that much football. And we know Kirby recruits elite dudes. So I think Georgia is not only playing its best football, but I don't know if we've seen its best football, which is a real scary proposition. And I'll go you a step further. I know I Googled him, so I know Kurt Cignetti wins. Dan Lanning's never been this far. The guy at Texas Tech was coaching high school football 5 years ago. We know Ryan Day is a choker with last year's motivation aside, and he had he had an unbelievably talented roster.
Excuse me.
There's no way I'd trust anyone more than Kirby to handle his business with these kind of stakes. So I get what you're saying about the odds and getting close to.
I'm not saying Georgia's unplayable at 6 to 1. It just sounds a lot better to have 15 to 1 like you. 15 to 1 is what you have, right?
Right.
Yeah, I'm not against Georgia at 6 to 1. Now let me ask you something. Do you think Miami or Oklahoma's worth a stab at 27 or 45? I don't, but it's kind of tempting if you thought Mateer was going to play well, because Oklahoma's defense is pretty salty.
Well, I like Oklahoma there more than I like Miami.
Yeah,
because I've seen the Carson Beck reruns more than once.
You can't trust Beck.
No, and I think Oklahoma. I mean, you look up, and if the most talented position room in the country is the Ohio State wide receiver room, I can make a hard argument that the second most talented position room in the country is the Oklahoma defensive line. And
what about Texas Tech's defensive line too?
Well, Oklahoma did it against a much tougher schedule.
Yeah.
And that translates to games in the December, January conversation, because you may worry about whether kids can handle pressure. Defensive linemen who go crush people, that translates whether you're playing in January or May. And it translates whether you're playing in College Station, Norman, Oklahoma, or on the moon. So in that regard, it is if you wanted to roll the dice on a long shot, I can see Oklahoma, because here's the thing. They're going to turn everything into the Oklahoma-Alabama over-under is 40, Brian.
I know.
And so you're telling me they've got the best kicker in the country and the best defensive front line in the country, which is a recipe. They don't give a damn if they win a game 13-9.
No. So they got to 44 in the last game, but that was with an 87-yard pick six. 23-21 final, wasn't it? Yeah, I believe so. All right. So just the CFP games, the lines right now, Bama, this is FanDuel, obviously. Bama -1.5 at even money, or -108 money line. Oh, this is weird. Oklahoma's -111 money line, but +1.5 at a -122 price. 40.5 is the total. A&M opened 5.5 at FanDuel quickly, like that, moved to 3.5, like less than 90 seconds later, because I was watching it. A&M's 3.5 -112. Canes +146 money line, total 51.5. Ole Miss beat Tulane 45-10 in like week 3, I think. Actually, it might have been week 2. No, it was week 4. 45-10 as a 12.5 point favorite. They are 17.5 in this game. Ole Miss half juice there. Tulane +640 on the money line. Total 56.5. James Madison's 21.5 at Oregon +1160 money line. 50.5 is the total. Okay, so here I'll just mention the lines of all the SEC games, but other than Vandy that I'm going to talk about, and if you have any others, we're just basically going to break the other bowl games down next week, because we really don't have a whole lot of opt-out or hardly any opt-out information at all yet. And none of these are until, well, the next SEC teams playing are the ones playing in the playoffs. So, yeah, we got some time until these games, and we'll know more on opt-outs, etc. Next week, hopefully. It might not even know a whole lot at that point. So as I'm just scrolling down, we have Mizzou -6.5 to Virginia. And I should pull up where I can tell you the location on all these. But the one I want to talk about, and also Houston is -3.5 to LSU. And here we go. That one's at NRG Stadium where the Texans play in Houston. Virginia, Mizzou is at Everbank in Jax. And then we have Tennessee is 5.5 point favorite to Illinois. That game is in Nashville where the Titans play. We have Iowa, Vanderbilt at Raymond James where the Bucks play. FanDuel has Vandy at 5.5. This number was 3.5 or 4 Monday morning. I jumped all over Vandy. This is the one I do want to talk about because I think the number's only going to get higher. And let me go to more wagers. Let's see if we got any. Nah, no player props or anything yet. But I'll be all for anything, Diego. But I love Vandy in this game. And I know Iowa's had a pretty good season. They lost a heartbreaker to Oregon. I mean, Iowa's pretty good. But I just don't, outside of a half dozen or so playoff teams, I just don't think anybody's beaten Vandy on a neutral field right now. And I think they would beat several playoff teams on a neutral field. So all about Vandy for me. Do you have one, or do you want me to go through the rest of them?
Well, did you get my text?
Oh, I got you. Let's see.
Brian, I love your thought process on Vandy. I agree that the only one I see sitting out is Eli Stowers, and I think Clark Lee and all of the Commodores are going to show up ticked off with something to prove. A lot of the other SEC games, we're talking about 10-plus days from Wednesday, December 10th when we're recording this. So we'll break those down later when we get more understanding of who's opting out, who's asking for more portal money, who's looking at the portal, or who's looking for more NIL money, who's looking at the portal, all of those things. The other one I would look, when you go into these things, you have to understand the SEC kids have way more opportunities and way more business decisions to make. Look, I looked it up, Brian. There are more double-digit spreads in the first 4 college football playoff games, 2, than all the other college football bowl games combined. 1.
Oh.
Utah is minus like 12.5 or 13 over Nebraska.
Oh, wow. I see it's actually up to 15.5 or 16 right now.
And this is such a striking change from 10 years ago, where the perception and the talent gap and the expectation of a majority of these kids coming back and playing, there'd have been 24, 24 is high, but there'd have been a dozen 14.5s and 15s. Everything is a single-digit spread because of the unknown.
Right.
So mind whatever team you follow or whatever team you may like in a bowl matchup, figure out a way to get on a Twitter feed of a reporter who covers that team and see if you can act quickly on an opt-out. I'm not saying you're going to beat the books regularly in terms of quickness, because they covet information too. But make certain you're as informed as possible going into this. The other thing I will tell you, and I believe this, and it has proven profitable over the last handful of years, always bet on the military academies in bowl games. This is a true treat for those kids because they don't have to, they get to go stay in a hotel room. They don't have to get up for PT. Nobody's opting out. Nobody is worried about pro contracts. Everybody knows what their future is. This is one more chance to play football before life gets really serious.
Yeah.
Bet on the military academies always and forever in bowl games.
Yeah. All right. I want to say I don't know that Eli Stowers is going to opt out, because I've not seen him in the first rounds of mock drafts. So I think he's going to play, but I would still like Vandy even if he doesn't. And it's too early in terms of not knowing opt-outs to bet Missouri, but I'm definitely leaning Missouri. We know Ahmad Hardy is a true sophomore, so he's not opting out. So,
well, unless he wants to go get a bag somewhere.
I think Missouri will give him the bag he wants, right? Yeah. I mean, maybe anybody could have a bigger bag. Yeah, I guess. Well, when does the portal open? January 2nd, right?
Yep.
Well, they play before that.
Hey, the bowl games being before January 2nd, if you believe you have multiple options that are more lucrative than where you currently are, then you've got to opt out. Because if Ahmad Curry has got twice the bag somewhere else, he can't go to this bowl game and blow out an ACL.
I saw Dillingham talking about how ASU guys that are hitting the portal are welcome to still play in the bowl game if they want to. So we'll see how that goes for other guys.
But if you're going to hit the portal, it doesn't make any sense. We're not necessarily talking about the upper elite guys. We're talking about guys that aren't necessarily getting bags, that are going to the portal, that just want to play a game. Okay.
Okay, I didn't realize this because I was looking for them. I was thinking they were going to be on the bottom. Okay, FanDuel does have hypotheticals for the CFP quarterfinals. So this is wonderful. I was wondering why the hell they didn't have this yet. So let me share those, and then we'll see if we would like any of them, or because we can bet them right now, especially you, because you have FanDuel in Tennessee. All right, Ohio State is minus 9.5 to Miami. Ohio State is minus 7.5 to A&M. Oh, in this game, the Ohio State game would be Jerry's World.
Dallas.
Yeah, Jerry's World, Arlington, or Dallas. I wasn't trying to correct you. But okay, and then Texas Tech, which is Orange Bowl in Miami, they would be 1.5 to Oregon, or I'd just rather do minus 110 money line. And then Indiana is 6.5, to Alabama, and Indiana's 9.5 to Oklahoma. What would you think Georgia and Ole Miss would be at the Superdome in New Orleans? Beat them by 8 in Athens.
9.5.
5.5. You would like Georgia.
Very much so.
Yeah. So there's some hypotheticals. I tell you, I would like Texas Tech against Oregon. Pick them. And yeah, that's about it. Maybe I would think Georgia would win that. I don't know if in a teaser, I would like Georgia. Okay.
I would also lean A&M in a home
7.5
game.
to Ohio State. Plus 7.5 to Ohio State.
In a home game.
Oh, yeah, because it's in – oh, right, yeah. Ohio State would still have a ton of fans there, though. But
of course they would. They travel in mass.
Yeah.
But –
yeah, no, I hear you. Okay, anything else before just some real quick basketball and we wrap things up?
No, I'm good, brother.
All right, let's go. We've got a really nice card Saturday in college hoops. Now, we obviously don't have lines, but we can go off KenPom. I'm just going to share the games, the lines. If KenPom, we did this last year. They're not always right. They're usually within a point or two, though, at least of the opening line. Now, then the market may dictate it going far away, if they get a lot of action one-sidedly. But here's what KenPom has. So Florida and George Washington, and GW is actually 8-2 and number 60 in KenPom. This is in Sunrise where the Florida or the Miami NHL team plays. Panthers, right? Yeah, Panthers. Florida minus 10 at KenPom. Arkansas and Texas Tech in Dallas. Texas Tech minus 1. Oklahoma and unbeaten Oklahoma State in OKC. Oak State minus 1. Is Georgia still unbeaten? No, they lost one. Clemson, I think. Anyway, Cincinnati and Georgia in ATL. Georgia minus 9. Southern Miss and Ole Miss in Biloxi. Ole Miss minus 13. Indiana at Kentucky, one of the few that's not on a neutral. Indiana at Kentucky. Kentucky minus 4. Kentucky's got some injuries there. SMU and LSU in New Orleans. LSU minus 2. Arizona against Bama and Birmingham. Great game. Night game, too. Zona minus 1. Mississippi State and Utah in Salt Lake, but at Delta Center where the Jazz play. Mississippi State minus 2. I think I like Texas Tech minus 1. And it's a tough trip across country, but I think I like Zona minus 1. Do you like any of those?
I do lean towards Zona because they're filthy. I think they're second best team in the country behind Michigan. I think Florida is going to play much, much better. But I think, honestly, big picture, if those lines stay true, considering the struggles of the entirety of the league, I think you'd make money betting against SEC teams because I think the market has not adjusted.
Overvalued, yeah.
Has not adjusted enough after last year's historic run that not only is the SEC, I think they've lost 40 games against quad 1 opponents and Gonzaga this year, or Power 5 opponents and Gonzaga this year. So,
go ahead.
I mean, that's a ton of outright losses. And with last year's historic run, they're carrying a banner of this is a monster win or monster opportunity for every school, whether you're talking about Arizona or you're talking about Southern Miss. And it is, I think you'd make some money on Saturday taking the points or even just going every game against all the SEC teams.
Well, it looks like Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Bama are the only underdogs, and they're all 1-point underdogs. So yeah, I don't necessarily disagree with that thought process either. All right, let's pay some bills, and then I've got a couple of closing remarks. Hey,
are grown men fighting diapers this weekend?
Yeah, I think so, but that's not my closing remarks. All right. Let's tell you about the Yearly Company, right? Yearly Company.
Yep.
Nashville-based fine jewelry brand built on tradition and design for meaning. Each piece is handcrafted from solid 14-karat gold and natural gemstones made to measure for a perfect fit and backed by a lifetime guarantee. Because every Yearly Company bangle is custom sized, knowing your size is the most important first step before ordering. That's where our sizing kit comes in. Code SE16KIT will take 100% off the sizing kit at checkout. Also, ROKFORM, the world's strongest magnetic phone case, extreme protection, super strong magnets, rock lock, secure mounting, SEC25 for 25% off. Okay, Florida loses their fourth game last night by 4 to UConn. Really good game. Two thrillers. BYU Clemson was awesome. The paying customers at MSG got their money's worth last night. I want to congratulate UConn, Arizona, TCU, and Duke on their wins by 1 to 6 points on the Gators in November and December, while our guards are struggling, while we can't buy a three-pointer. And I also want to state all 4 of them can come get some in March. The Gators are fine. Don't worry about my Gators. We are good to go. We are bound for the Final Four yet again. Don't worry about these 4 L's. We are good. Flan got in foul trouble last night. Lee has now played good in 2 or 3 games. If we can just get these 2 to play good in the same game, we're going to be trouble. So anyway, I just want to get that off my chest.
You feel better?
I feel a lot better because all of them can come get some in March. We're built for it. Anything? You got anything? Oh, I got some NFL picks. Oh, I know you're gonna like this. The Bucks -4 at home to the Falcons tomorrow. How does Raheem Morris and Fontenot have a job today? It's insane.
They won on Friday.
You really think Arthur Blank's so bad? You like Bucks -4? So do
I. How do you not lay whatever the lumber is with 44-year-old Phillip Rivers potentially being the starting quarterback, going to the Seattle team that is killing people?
Yeah, 13.5.
Hey, I'm not lining up to lay more than 2 touchdowns in any NFL game. This is going to be a curb stomping.
Yes, I concur. I agree on that. All right, I also like the Giants -2 against the Commanders. My Commanders have lost 8 in a row. 1-7 ATS, and the Giants have lost a lot in a row too. But Jackson Dart, I don't think Daniels is going to play. It's a little early in the week to say that. But I also like the Lions +5.5 to the Rams, and I also like the Bengals +2.5 at home to Baltimore, who they just throttled. And Lamar Jackson has a 1-4 TDI&T ratio in the last 4 games, and the Ravens. Boy, this is a wild NFL season. I mean, the Ravens and the Chiefs are almost certainly going to – not certainly with the Ravens, or the Chiefs, but it's not looking good.
How does this is – I don't even know if this is big picture or an anomaly, but not to get too far off the rails. Do you remember the transition like late Barry Sanders where the NFL became – this is no longer a running back league? We're going to look up, and really 3 of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks universally in this league are going to be out of the playoffs in Mahomes, Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. And yes, it's always a quarterback league, but I think there's going to be a Moneyball experiment of guys trying to draft a quarterback every year, exploit the rookie deal, and spend money elsewhere and be great around a middling quarterback and see what you can do.
Yeah, the next few weeks in the NFL are going to be a lot of fun. I'm not against fading Kansas City again this week either. Man, I mean, a must-have game, and Mahomes throws 3 interceptions. That is just wild.
And the offensive line is fractured.
Oh, yeah.
And we just saw what the Chargers did against a less than good offensive line Monday night in Philly.
Yeah, man. Eagles are go away. I mean, the Cowgirls are still got a chance. The Cowgirls, they are what, 1.5 games back?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Anything else?
That'll do me.
All right. We are presented by FanDuel. Good luck with your bets. Thanks for listening, watching, and subscribe to SC Southeastern 16 if you haven't already. And have a great weekend. We'll see you.